Let's meet Ari Aster, 38 years old, screenwriter from New York City. Comes from a family of artists like so many of our screenwriters and directors do. His mother was a poet. His father was a musician. He spent quite a bit of his childhood in New Mexico and some of it in England. He went to college at College of Santa Fe in New Mexico. Then he went to grad school, film school at AFI, the American Film Institute. And while he was in film school and even after film school, he was making a lot of short films. He made at least 8 of these provocative short films that became his calling card all over town, including one in 2011 called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. And this was a story about family dysfunction and abuse. And it got people thinking, well, I think this guy could handle a feature film. Also in 2011, he did the short film Beau, which was the prototype for his feature film Beau Is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix. That was his 3rd feature film, but it started out as a short, and we'll talk more about that later. But the most important thing to know about Ari Aster, if you only could know one thing, is that he is a writer and director who specializes in grief and trauma and guilt and death, family dysfunction, things that truly make us think about ourselves and our own lives. And he does this through the vehicle of horror, mostly occult. But he is a drama-first storyteller. And this is what I was talking about earlier, saying that he has pushed the horror genre in this direction. Now there are several horror filmmakers who are doing exactly what he's doing and having huge success with it. When he talks about his stories, he says the horror emerges organically from the emotional breakdown itself. His famous quote actually is, "I write drama that gets hijacked by horror." And you could feel that. You could see it on the page. You could see it on the screen. But he is never afraid to push the envelope, push the boundaries, put us in uncomfortable situations, not only visually, but also psychologically ourselves, thinking about things that you may not want to be thinking about. You have Jennifer Kent, you have Robert Eggers, you have Jordan Peele, and many others who are doing this, but using this horror vehicle to tell an emotionally, philosophical, relevant story rather than just jump scares. It is what horror is today for most of us. So what about him? He is very private. We don't know much about him at all. Even when he is promoting a film, he doesn't really answer questions about himself. He pushes that away. He has said over time that he has experienced a lot of grief and pain and trauma from family trauma that's been passed down through his family. And you see that in all of his films. Also, he says he struggles with anxiety and OCD tendencies, which show up in a lot of his characters. So he is, as you could tell, one of my favorites. I respect him so much. And he's a very controversial screenwriter, filmmaker, because some people don't like his stuff at all. But that's why it's art. And we all can decide what it means to us and what we find out about it that is revealing something about ourselves. But for me and my family, he's the man. And he started with feature films in 2018, and Hereditary was his very first. That's the one we're going to be breaking down today. Then he followed that up in 2019 with Midsommar, starring Florence Pugh. This is my favorite of his collection. I call it the daylight horror because the whole thing is bright and beautiful. And of course, it's about this young woman, and she's coping with the loss of her sister and her parents as she attends a pagan festival. And then in 2023, he finally got to make Beau Is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix. And this is a surreal story about an anxious man who's on a journey to visit his mother. And then, why this is so relevant, in a couple of weeks here, July 18th of this year, Eddington will be hitting the theaters. And it is a COVID-19 Western horror. So maybe he just made up a whole other genre. No one's ever heard of that before. But it has an all-star cast, including Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, Luke Grimes, and many more. It's going to be something to see. There's been a lot of mixed reviews about it for the people who got to see early screenings, but you can expect that with a film that's playing a political line here. We're already 50-50 split before you even have an opinion about the movie.